Hey Booktube, it's Kelly with Books I'm Not Reading. I don't even know what attempt this is to make this video, but I'm really hoping that this one will turn out and you'll be watching it. This is my third quarter wrap up and fourth quarter TBR. I really find one of the best parts about Booktube is by actually sharing with you what I plan to read in the next 3 months. I tend to stick to it and be a little bit more determined about actually getting to those books. This collection is a bit more ambitious than some, but I am excited about it. As far as the third quarter, I think I've talked about almost every single book that I read during the third quarter in another video. The one major oversight in that would be in July when I read The Overstory by Richard Powers, which won the Pulitzer Prize for fiction. If you're new to my channel, first of all, welcome. And secondly, I have read all the books that have won the Pulitzer Prize for fiction. So every year when the new book is announced, I try to make sure I get to it that year. This year there was some slight hang-ups with the library, but anyway, it's an excellent book. I really recommend it. I think I gave it 4 stars. I did find the trees to be a little bit more interesting than the people in the book, but maybe that was the point. And I do think it's a very interesting choice for the Pulitzer in the time and age that we're living in. So, as to what I am going to be reading in the next 3 months, here we go. So I do want to talk about the big Booktube events that are going on in the next 2 months, but let me tell you first about things that don't fall into one of those categories. So Jason bought me Ali Smith's Autumn, which is the first book in her season quartet, and normally I just read the books that I already own, or again, if they're part of an event. But I've heard so much about Ali Smith on Booktube that I felt like I really needed to check her out, and I was very curious about the seasonal quartet, so I'm hoping it's good. And I have started it, but today I am gonna just really try to make a dent in this because I have, as you will see, quite a few other things on tap. Jason also surprised me the other day and picked me up Conversations with Friends by Sally Rooney. Now, I didn't know about Sally Rooney prior to Booktube. I know, I live under a rock. But I kept hearing really great things about her stuff, so I was very excited. And then Steve Donahue on his channel started making fun of her and saying that Ireland has been renamed the Republic of Sally Rooney. And so then I was very curious to see what her writing is like, what her storytelling is like. So if you've read any Sally Rooney and you love it, or if this is, if you don't think this is her best book or whatever, tell me your thoughts about this. Same is true with Ali Smith. If there's another Ali Smith book that I really need to check out, let me know in the comment section down below. Last year, my favorite book of the year was Plain Song by Kent Harif. And he has kind of this it probably has a name. Anyway, it's a trilogy of books, but I don't think you necessarily need to read them in order, or I'm not sure how much the characters overlap. But the second one is Eventide. So I'm hoping to get to this October or November, because in December, I'm going to be reading Benediction. And I'm going to be reading this as part of Jason at Old Blues Chapter and Verse. It'll be the last book in his series this year on mortality, death in literature, and I believe it's called If I Carry a Coffin. You carry a coffin today. I think that's what it's called. I'm sorry, Jason. I'll leave a link to it below. But anyway, so this is what is going to be read in December, and I loved Plain Song so much, and it really ended the year on a high note for me. So I want to read these other two books. And of course, in December, I will be reading A Christmas Carol again, because it's worth reading every year. And if you haven't read A Christmas Carol, man, you're really, really missing out. So this is just, yeah, one of my favorites. So those are kind of the non-event books that I've got on my list. If you're a Kent Harrah fan, of course, let me know. And if you're a Christmas Carol fan. So the other things that are going on, of course, we're still not done with our Betsy Tacy, Maud Hart Lovelace, We Love Deep Valley read-along. So I'll be reading the last two books for that. In October, I'm going to be reading Emily of Deep Valley. And I'm so excited because I haven't read this. So I'm not even actually sure like what time frame compared to the Betsy stories that this takes place, although I do believe Betsy makes an appearance in this. So I'm really looking forward to another full-length book that takes place in Deep Valley. And finally, in November, we're going to be reading the second, it's really more like a novella, in this edition, and it's called Winona's Pony Cart. And it actually goes back to when the main characters in the Betsy Tacy books are little girls, focusing on Winona. I think she's maybe 8 when the book starts, and you can see it's super, super short. So that'll be a nice, fast read there. So last year, I did not participate in Victober and watched a trillion Victober videos. So I really, really wanted to at least dip my toes into the water this year for Victober. Jason is planning on us reading by candlelight, but I'm not so sure about that. I think that's the group prompt or something like that. I would like to see some videos of that. If you're planning on reading by candlelight, like, make sure you film it. So the first one's, again, a little shorter, and this is The Haunted Hotel by Wilkie Collins. One of our friends sent this to us a while ago, and as I liked A Woman in White, I was curious to read some more Wilkie Collins. It's one of these nice Penguin editions, and yeah, it sounds fun. I think it takes place in Venice, so I'm excited to read that. And then, of course, for Victober, I'm going to read some Charles Dickens again. I love Dickens. If you saw my favorite writers tag, he's number 2 on the list, and there's so much Dickens to read and reread. So I don't know how I got through high school without reading A Tale of Two Cities, but yeah, I think I'm expecting to really enjoy it. And Jason, who's generally a very slower reader than I am, I mean, he just powered through the last 100 pages of this book. So I'm hoping I can get through it this month. I'm excited though to read those. And maybe I'll read one of them by candlelight. Who knows? So November is Nonfiction November. Again, another event I don't know that I really participated in last year. And the video announcing it was just posted this morning. So I've been looking at my nonfiction shelves, and if you have any recommendations for me, a favorite nonfiction book, please let me know. I have kind of created a Paris-themed Nonfiction November. Steve Donahue, I know I mentioned him a lot this video, but he talks about sending books out to people. And if you've never gotten a book from Steve, by all means, like, at some point, you should ask, because he actually does send people books, and he has sent me 2 books. A Year in Paris by John Baxter, and this is Monsieur Mediocre. One American Learns the High Art of Being Everyday French by John Van Soffen. So both of these appeared on one of Steve's mail hauls, And I was especially really excited about this one. And so I asked Steve and he sent them. So thank you so much, Steve. I really appreciate it. And I feel that I owe it to him because he sent them to me to read them. And A Year in Paris looks it looks really short, or like a fast read. John Baxter, I read another book by him a couple years ago, A Movable Feast, A Paris Christmas. I love reading Christmas books. But anyway, so it's kind of, it's a little French, but hey, I want to read these books because they were a gift. And I appreciate that, and I want to make sure that Steve knows that as well. So, finally, the last book is a buddy read, and this is kind of a mashup between Victober, where we celebrate all things Victoriana, and all authors Victoriana, and Nonfiction November. So this is a biography of Elizabeth Gaskell by Jenny Uglow. And I believe I got this for Christmas last year from Jason. I'm pretty sure it was last year. So it looks very unlike some of the nonfiction I've read more most recently. This book looks very thorough. There are a lot of notes, a lot of references. It's a little bit big for December, but Joe and I will figure it out, and I'm super excited to do another buddy read with Joe Smith. She's just such a joy. So this is my stack. It's just quite large, and like I said, I'll do my best. We'll see what happens, but telling all of you about it will most certainly help me along the way as I make this giant pile. So this is the next 3 months. I hope I've left some room in here for something else maybe, or I guess even if I just read these, it'll be a pretty big accomplishment. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I would love to hear your feedback on my TBR, and let me know what books you're excited to read in the next 3 months. If you haven't already made a Victober video, and I'll be watching for the Nonfiction November posts as well. Make sure you film yourself reading by candlelight for Victober so I can see that. And we'll talk very soon, Booktube. Take care. Remember to be kind to yourself and be kind to others. And I will talk to you very soon. Bye, Booktube.